Hey there, wonderful parents. It's Kathy here, your self-esteem booster and host of the Tips for Parenting Youngsters podcast, your go-to for parenting tips. I'm on a mission to help you reach your full potential and create a nurturing and safe family environment. I am not here to beat you up for your past parenting mistakes, but instead to focus on 3 critical pillars that I learned from being a parent and grandparent that turned myself and my family life around. My 3 pillars are assertive communication, conflict resolution, and those all-important healthy boundaries, all leading to raising self-esteem in your children and yourself. So let's get started. This is a bit of a difficult episode for me because talking about triggers is triggering. It is bringing up past hurts and shame. But to keep building my self-esteem and confidence, I keep facing my triggers one at a time. The joy and freedom of working through my triggers is far greater than keeping them bottled up inside. So grab your favorite beverage, find a comfy spot, and let's get into today's topic of triggers. This is Tips for Parenting Youngsters, where every episode brings you closer to building self-esteem and stronger, more meaningful relationships with your children. So what are triggers? Triggers can manifest in various ways, often catching us off guard with their intensity. For instance, when my children refused to listen or do what I asked them to do, I would get extremely frustrated, which usually caused me to yell at them. And when they were little, I also spanked them, just like my mom did with me. The good news on that is I must have done something right because the spanking and yelling stopped with me. Or how about when teenagers give you the eye roll or dismissive attitude, which triggers feelings of hurt or rejection? Or how about when your child's innocent question or request for attention can trigger feelings of overwhelm or inadequacy when you are already stretched thin with all that you have to do in a day? I don't know about you, but by the end of the day, I didn't have much more to give. These triggers serve as reminders of our vulnerabilities as parents, prompting us to react instinctively or defensively to protect ourselves. However, it's essential to recognize that while triggers may arise unexpectedly, we possess the power to acknowledge and control our responses. By cultivating self-awareness and practicing mindfulness, we can discern the root causes of our triggers and choose more constructive ways of engaging with our children to help keep their self-esteem intact. Through open communication, empathy, and self-reflection, we can transform triggering moments into opportunities for growth and connection within ourselves and our families. Triggers can also emerge from various sources beyond interactions with our children. Here are some additional ways triggers can manifest. Triggers often arise in interactions with spouses, family members, friends, or even colleagues. Stressful situations at work, such as tight deadlines, challenging projects, or conflicts with coworkers, can trigger feelings of anxiety, frustration, or inadequacy. Exposure to content on social media or in the news, such as tragic events or heated debates, can trigger feelings of sadness, anger, or helplessness. When our needs for validation, recognition, or support go unfulfilled, it can trigger feelings of disappointment, resentment, or loneliness. Past traumatic experiences, whether large or small, can leave lasting imprints on our psyche, leading to heightened sensitivity to specific triggers associated with those events. An essential step toward managing your emotional responses is identifying your triggers. Here are some strategies to help you recognize and understand your triggers. Reflect on past experiences when you felt particularly upset or distressed. Consider what happened just before you experienced your emotions. By reflecting on past experiences, you can help identify your patterns and common triggers. Just thinking about this episode brought back so many memories of being ignored by my mom when she gave her undivided attention to my siblings and not me. As a child, this left me feeling abandoned and alone. Start keeping a journal where you record instances when you experience intense emotions. Note down what happened, how you felt, and how you reacted. A trigger journal helps to identify recurring triggers and gain insight into your emotional responses. Here are some questions you can ask yourself. What situations or events tend to trigger strong emotional responses in me? How do I typically react when I encounter these triggers? Are there any patterns or recurring themes among my triggers? What underlying beliefs or past experiences might be contributing to my reactions? I was reading the other day that James Pennebaker researched the healing power of expressive writing, or what I call journaling. In his research, Pennebaker found an increasing number of studies showing evidence that expressive writing, or journaling, for 15 to 20 minutes per day for only 3 to 4 days can improve physical and mental health. How about giving it a try? Sometimes physical sensations, such as tension in your body, a racing heart, or shallow breathing, can be indicators of emotional triggers. Pay attention to how your body reacts in different situations. I often feel emotional pain in my heart area. Sometimes I feel it in my knees when experiencing fear, as when I'm too afraid to take the next step towards a goal. Consider your thoughts and beliefs. Your thoughts and beliefs about yourself, others, and the world around you can also trigger emotional responses. Notice any negative or distorted thinking patterns contributing to your emotional reactions. Because of how my parents parented, I grew up believing I wasn't worthy. I had low self-esteem, anxiety, and bouts of depression. About 3 years ago, I made the courageous decision that I am worthwhile and began changing my thoughts and beliefs about myself by repeating positive affirmations. Affirmations shifted my energy, bringing new people into my life who like and support me just the way I am. Certain behaviors or habits you engage in when feeling triggered can also provide clues about your trigger. Pay attention to any patterns in your behavior, such as withdrawing from others, overeating, or procrastinating. As I mentioned in episode 8 regarding self-discipline, I was an emotional eater. Food was my best friend, in good times, in bad times, in any time. Sometimes others can provide insights into your triggers that you may not have considered. Ask trusted friends, family members, or a therapist for feedback on your emotional reactions and any patterns they may have noticed. Again, a word of caution when seeking input from others. They might not have your best interest at heart. Remember that identifying triggers is an ongoing process, and it's okay if it takes time to uncover and understand them thoroughly. Now that you know how to identify your triggers, how the heck do you stop reacting to them? Here are some strategies. Affirm your ability to manage challenging situations. Remind yourself that you possess the strength to choose your reactions, fostering a sense of empowerment and self-esteem. This one works great. I use this more now because I know what triggers me. Now I change the dialogue. My old self felt hurt, angry, and disrespected when someone was late for an appointment. I changed it to, there must be a reason they are late. Maybe they're stuck in traffic or they got an unexpected call. Another strategy is to set boundaries. To protect yourself from triggers, establish boundaries or have a proactive plan when possible. Your boundaries might involve limiting exposure to certain people, places, or situations that consistently trigger strong emotional reactions. Here is an excellent example of how I was able to help a friend with her ex-husband using my 3 pillars of conflict resolution, assertive communication, and setting boundaries. The conflict was, my friend and her ex-husband were having a conversation on the phone, which became a heated argument over parenting their children about hanging around certain friends. He blamed her and was not open to a discussion. He just told her what he wanted her to do, even though her ex wouldn't do anything himself. So she hung up on him. I could hear frustration, shame, and discouragement in her voice. She knew her emotions were heightened as she explained it, and didn't want to say something she would regret. It wasn't the first time she had hung up on him. Now, she wanted to act differently. I encouraged her by acknowledging her awareness of the situation and removing herself from it. I explained that she could set a boundary for future conversations by explaining to her ex that she will end the conversation by hanging up when her ex begins to blame and criticize her without offering support. We worked on what she could say using I statements, the assertive communication skill. Here's what we came up with. I value open communication and mutual respect. If we can engage in a constructive dialogue, I must step away by hanging up and return to the discussion when we both can be calm and kinder. As I said in my introduction, I have learned these skills through my journey as a parent and grandparent. Kindly seek advice from professionals regarding your particular situation. Another way to deal with your triggers is to develop healthy coping strategies to help you manage stress and control your emotions. Coping strategies can include exercise, journaling, relaxation practices, or hobbies that bring you joy. Deep breathing is one coping strategy. When you feel triggered, take a moment to pause and focus on your breath. Deep breathing can help activate your body's relaxation response, calming your mind and reducing the intensity of your emotional reaction. I find this one harder because I forget to breathe calmly when I'm triggered. I am working on this one by following a great guided YouTube video. I do this first thing in the morning, and I am noticing how much calmer I am in handling triggers throughout my day. Another coping strategy is walking. When I was struggling at home as a child, and even now, I am out the door, walking so I can collect my thoughts and calm myself down. Journaling has also become a big part of my life. Every morning, I journal for 10 to 15 minutes. It feels so good to tell your spouse off in a journal letter when he has angered you. I never give it to him. I have a ritual of burning those letters as a symbol of releasing my emotions. Try to empathize with the person or situation that triggered you. Consider what might motivate their behavior or actions, and recognize that everyone experiences challenges and struggles. I am working on this one too. I must admit, it doesn't come easy. Journaling helps with this also. Reach out to friends, family members, or a therapist for support and guidance. Talking to someone you trust can provide validation, perspective, and other practical strategies for managing triggers more effectively. As mentioned earlier, reflecting on your past experiences, you can use these insights to develop strategies for preventing triggers or responding to them more skillfully in the future. What I want to say on this is the greater the trigger, the greater the life lesson that boosts your self-esteem even higher so you can reach your full potential and set an example for your children. Remember that breaking old patterns and learning to stop reacting to triggers, that takes time and effort. Be patient with yourself and celebrate small victories along the way. With practice and perseverance, you can develop greater emotional resilience and more adaptive ways of coping with triggers. As parents, we serve as the guiding lights for our children, illuminating paths of resilience and emotional intelligence. Understanding and managing our triggers enhances our well-being and sets a far-reaching example for our children to emulate. Indeed, the journey of self-improvement begins with ourselves. Remember, the changes we instill within ourselves ripple outward, shaping the familial landscape with positivity and empowerment. Triggers are an excellent segue into next week's topic, emotional intelligence, which is understanding and managing our feelings and the feelings of others. I have found in my life experience to be emotionless. Don't cry. Don't get angry or get frustrated. We are told to shut down our emotions instead of learning to control them. So tune in next Thursday as I explore this topic further. There is always time to rewrite your family story, break free from patterns that no longer serve you, and create a home filled with love, understanding, and unwavering support. I'm here to guide you every step of the way. As I conclude this episode, I must state that this podcast is designed solely for educational and entertainment purposes. While I bring my experience as a parent and grandparent, it's essential that you know I am not a licensed therapist. This podcast is not a substitute for professional advice from a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional. Got it? Awesome. Until next time, what is one thing you are grateful for?